The Giants have picked up Bob Melvin's 2026 option. A lot of people's instant reaction is that this is the worst time to announce something like this, but I happen to wholeheartedly disagree.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. My name is Ben Kaspick, and on the show we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that's data-driven and rational, but also simple, passionate, and accessible to all. I'm a former contributor for the baseball statistics and analysis websites Beyond the Box Score and Rotographs. I've been podcasting about the Giants since 2015, hosting this show for over 6 years, and I'm a lifelong Giants fan. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, so check us out there if you have not already, and please smash that subscribe button wherever it is that you're following the show. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And coming up on today's show, the big news of the day, the Giants have exercised their 2026 option on manager Bob Melvin. And my reaction to it differs largely from what I believe is the general reaction among fans, which is that this is the worst time to do this and or that he's not the right person for the job. And also, we'll get into the frustration levels reaching new heights seemingly every day, even with every at-bat. And another just horrendous loss for the Giants yesterday. And Christian Koss, the lone bright spot recently for the Giants, injured in this game while hitting what appeared to be a home run, was ruled an out and then ruled a double. Oh my goodness. So a lot to get into. But the first thing is that the Giants exercised their 2026 option for manager Bob Melvin. So in a press release, Buster Posey said, quote, "Having the chance to work alongside Bob every day, we're really fortunate to have such an experienced leader and one of the most well-respected managers in baseball. His leadership, preparation, and connection with our players have been invaluable, and we believe he's the right person to continue guiding this team forward." Bob Melvin said, "I'm grateful for the opportunity to continue leading this group. I believe in what we're building here, and I appreciate the confidence that the Giants ownership group, Greg, Buster, Larry, Zac, and the rest of the Giants organization have shown in me and our staff. We have a lot of unfinished business this year, and I'm looking forward to the work ahead." And then the Giants point out Melvin, 63, is in the his second season as manager of the San Francisco Giants, his 22nd overall as a big league manager. In those 22 seasons, Melvin has guided his team to 8 postseason appearances, which is not that many, that include 4 division titles and 2 trips to the league championship series, 2007 with Arizona and 2022 with San Diego. He was also a bench coach on the 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks club that won the World Series. As a major league manager, Melvin has garnered 3 Manager of the Year awards, 2007, 2012, and 2018, and owns a lifetime managerial winning percentage of .515, compiling a record of 1,642 wins, 1,547 losses during the regular season. So that win total ranks 21st all time and are the third most among active managers behind just Bruce Bochy and Terry Francona. So that was a lot to get into and read there. That's the end of it. But the instant reaction that I've seen from a lot of people on Twitter, essentially, was just that this was the worst time to announce this move. Well, clearly the Giants and specifically Buster Posey disagrees with that sentiment. And so do I, actually. Not just to be contrarian, but I really do disagree with the sentiment that this is the worst time for it. If anything, I'm kind of indifferent to the timing, but I'm going to explain why well, I should say overall, I'm kind of indifferent to the timing, but if anything, I lean towards this being actually good timing to announce something like this. And for me, I don't think that the Giants' recent struggles, and I think it's fair to call it recent struggles, like it is not long ago that this team was one win away in LA from tying the Dodgers atop the National League West. Suddenly, they find themselves 8 games out of first place, but just 1.5 games out of a wild card spot with about half a season remaining. And so it's easy to lose perspective in times like these when the struggle is immense. But I think that, they're 45-40, which is not great, but they're underperforming their run differential by 1 win, expected record of 46-39, which if that was their actual record, that would put them a half a game out. And really, there's so many games recently that they should have won, but they just cannot for the life of them score a run. It's worth noting, I read this article by Susan Slusser in the Chronicle yesterday that's titled Buster Posey Sticks with Giants Coaches Despite Base Running, Hitting Struggles. And there's quotes from Buster Posey. He said, "I have the utmost confidence in Bob and the coaching staff. Whether you're a player or coach, sometimes there are going to be things that go your way and things that don't. You make the best decision you can. I know for certain that being around Bob and his staff as much as I have been the last 5 months, they're very prepared and they're in great positions to make the right decisions." And then Slusser writes that in his first season in this new role, Posey has demonstrated a great deal of patience up to a point. Lamont Wade Jr. got 2 months to work out his hitting issues before he was let go. Tyler Fitzgerald got even more time to settle in at second before he was sent down, which, by the way, then he was brought back up and got a big hit last night that tied the game, but it wasn't to be. We'll get into the game later on, but this is the line that really stands out. Posey said, quote, "This is a tough stretch. Sometimes when you go through this, my personal opinion is that less is more. There's a tendency when things aren't going well to try to search and figure out, what do we need to do? I believe you get back to the basics as much as you can, and a lot of times you'll right the ship." And so that really stood out to me in that Posey's reaction or stated response to the struggles that the Giants are going through, he made it a point to say that there's a tendency to, he said, there's a tendency to search and figure out. But I would go a step further and say there's a tendency to be reactionary and to make a big move. And a lot of times managers get fired, and a lot of the time that type of thing just doesn't work out. And if you think about it realistically, who else is a great option to manage the Giants? Now, I think maybe some people out there are going to say Ron Wotus or something like that. But Bob Melvin has so much experience. Ron Wotus has never been a major league manager. He's been passed up a zillion times. No disrespect to Ron Wotus, but and then you could say, young guys like Stephen Vogt would have been a good option, or Will Venable or something like that. But with young managers, they go through growing pains, and also the modern manager these days is going to behave kind of more like a Gabe Kapler figure in terms of how they manage a team. And so it is kind of a good fit with Melvin and the Giants. He grew up, with Bay Area sports. I don't think you can really pin the struggles of the Giants on Bob Melvin specifically almost at all. There are certainly a few times this season where I've really disagreed with something, whether it's a lineup construction or a decision to do something. But for the most part, maybe the coaching staff, but not Melvin himself. And the coaching staff, though, is a reflection of Bob Melvin, and he does, I believe, have authority over who's on that staff. So that's a whole separate issue. But the timing, I'm going to just re-emphasize why I think this was actually deliberate and why it's not a bad thing. And we'll get into the game and the frustration and can it possibly get worse in just a minute and before we do. Today's episode of Locked On Giants is brought to you in part by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Now, back in the day when I had all my accounts spread all over the place, it was very, very hard to manage. And having it all in one place is absolutely game-changing for personal finance and building wealth. So take control of your finances like I did with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. All right, here we go. We are going to get into the timing of this announcement with Bob Melvin being retained for 2026. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Everydayers tomorrow. We're back at it. The Giants are playing the Diamondbacks 4 times, all at the same time, 6:40 Pacific. And tonight it's going to be Hayden Birdsong on the mound against Zac Gallen, who pretty surprisingly has a 5.75 ERA. That being said, of course, he will probably have his best game of the season against the Giants tonight because that is just how it seems to go for the San Francisco Giants. But, I mean, Zac Gallen's been one of the better pitchers in the league for quite a while, but this year it has not gone his way at all. So we'll see if the Giants can take advantage or if Gallen will just suddenly regain his Cy Young form and throw like 8 perfect innings against them. Anyway, we'll be breaking it down tomorrow. Maybe a therapy session. We all need that right now. But the timing of this, I just have to say, like, I don't have a problem with it at all. And I think Buster Posey's response is kind of to, I don't want to say he wants to zig when everyone else zags, but that's kind of what this is like, instead of what a lot of teams might do in this situation is like fire their manager. And a lot of teams, I think of the Padres as an example, like the managerial spot has just been a revolving door for some teams. Like they always scapegoat the manager and then bring in somebody new and then whatever. And then that guy ends up getting scapegoated later on and they bring in somebody new. And there is value in stability. And I just don't put the struggles of the Giants on Bob Melvin. If you want to argue that maybe you can put it on the coaching staff, it's hard to quantify. It's hard to argue that one way or the other to know like what's what, because in 2021, the Giants had all this success with the coaching staff that Gabe Kapler put together. But after that, they stopped having all that success. And then Donnie Eckert left after 21, went to the Texas Rangers. They had a ton of success, won the World Series, and a lot of offensive success. We gave a lot of credit to Donnie Eckert there, but then they've struggled ever since themselves. And Donnie Eckert was let go this season and is currently not been rehired by any team as far as I understand. And so it is very difficult to quantify what impact these coaches have. But I have criticized like Pat Burrell and some of the comments he's made this season, like saying that his job is to basically pep talk the hitters. I would say, I mean, again, without being in the room, it's hard to know exactly what he's doing and not doing and what the other hitting coaches are doing or not doing. But I think a hitting coach's job in the modern game is to do more than just have hitters in the right mindset to hit. It's biomechanical stuff a lot of the time. And Posey not above all, but Posey should know that, because if you look at his 2021 season, it was a huge rebound monster year that he went out on. And it wasn't just, he had time off and he felt better. Like, if you look at his swing and stance and setup, it was totally different in 2021 than it had been at any point in his career. It was far more upright. He changed biomechanically his swing and had amazing results. And he witnessed Brandon Crawford do the same. Crawford changed his swing and had amazing results. But then Crawford continued to go with that swing and didn't have good results moving forward. So this is an area where it is just hard to pin down. And certainly Giants hitters are struggling right now. There's no doubt about it. And on the season, the Giants offense is just in free fall. And overall, though, they've only been about 6% below average, which is right around where the Atlanta Braves have been, just by way of example. So that is 24th, though, in baseball in terms of weighted runs created plus. So it's bad. It's bad. And you've got guys like Rafael Devers. Like, it's almost like you put on the Giants uniform and you're just cursed right now, is how it seems to the naked eye. But of course, they're not actually cursed. And we'll get into more details there. But anyway, I don't mind the timing of this. It's Posey sending a message of stability when a lot of teams would do the opposite in this situation. And that's very Buster Posey. Now, the one question I have is what I was getting at, which is that Posey knows more than anyone, like maybe not more than anyone, but he knows, because he worked with Bochy and his staff. He worked with Gabe Kapler and his staff, and now he's around Bob Melvin and his staff. So a lot of different eras here and coaching techniques that Posey has been a part of and witnessed. So I just hope that they have put together the best staff, and Posey seems to think they have, and that they have the right manager in place. There's no doubt this team cares. I just don't pin their struggles on Bob Melvin. And I think that they're going to get better offensively because they have to. They're in an unbelievable stretch of difficulties offensively, but that just doesn't last. And like I said, it wasn't long ago the vibes were kind of through the roof, with this team. And so there's a couple things going on. Number one, like it just feels like they're reaching a tipping point or a breaking point or a boiling point, whatever you want to call it. Logan Webb looks like he's about ready to do something. Like, he needs to let off some steam. He looks so furious out there because he's been dealing with this with a team that just cannot score for him. And he goes out there and you just, as a pitcher, feel like you have to be perfect day in, day out. And it's just got to be extremely frustrating as a pitcher. And that was the case yesterday. And it was just a repeat of the same type of game the Giants keep playing. Tyler Fitzgerald was brought back prior to the game as Casey Schmidt had to go on the injured list. Tyler Fitzgerald came up with what looked like it may be the big hit that would finally get this team going. 2-out, game-tying, 2-run double that was almost caught in center field. It was crushed. That's the thing, is their luck has been horrible too. Like, there was a line drive by Patrick Bailey that would have brought in a run. It was hit very, very hard, but it was right at Ketel Marte. There was a line drive to the opposite field gap, 110 miles an hour off the bat of Willy Adames, but it was tracked down in the gap. And so they are just smoking the ball at times. There was this Christian Koss deep fly ball to left center field that should have been a go-ahead homer, or could have been, but it was interfered with by a fan. They called him out on the field, which I thought was absurd, given that it would be one thing if the outfielder was camped underneath it, and then clearly a fan reached over and stuck his or her arms out in front of the glove of the defender. But This was a defender running back to his left, full speed, reaching up, leaping. Like, you can't call him out on the field. I'm sorry. And I just said on Twitter, if this call stands, because the Giants obviously challenged it, I might be done with baseball forever. Like, that is the feeling right now watching the Giants, is like it is testing the mental health of anybody who is invested in this team right now. And it extends, like I said, to anybody who puts on the uniform outside of Christian Koss, who then got injured. Apparently he tweaked his hamstring earlier in the game, but he is swinging the bat well and he goes down. So Tyler Fitzgerald is back already. So they were on their third string, kind of, not that he's playing third. It moved Koss to third and Fitzgerald to second. But Chapman has gone down. Casey Schmidt has gone down. And now Christian Koss has gone down. So anyway, coming up in just a minute, I do want to get into guys like Rafael Devers, who right now is an automatic strikeout. So the hype around acquiring Devers was very real for a very legitimate reason, but right now you just throw him a pitch in the zone and he's going to swing and miss and strike out. And like, what the heck is going on? What on earth is going on with the San Francisco Giants, and when are they going to break out of this? Well, in my opinion, they have to eventually, because they're not this bad. Nobody, I mean, you just look at the track record of a guy like Rafael Devers and he's just not this bad. So we'll look at Devers' numbers with the Giants and also what it means to have Christian Koss go down right now. They did put him on the IL, so we'll get into what they did as a corresponding move and more in just a minute and before we get into it. Today's episode of Locked On Giants is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting than it already is. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are out getting sunburned at the beach. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games that might even be a struggle to watch feel like must-watch events. Whether I'm placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm part of the action. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, here we go. We're going to get into the Christian Koss injury and the ramifications of that. And also I want to get into Devers and how he's been an automatic strikeout right now. 4 strikeouts yesterday, and he's struck out in very important situations lately as well. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen every day. Every dayers tomorrow. We're back at it. Giants are back at it, and we're back at it too. It's a grind. It makes me want to not quit this job, but quit baseball forever. That is how it is watching the Giants right now. And if you feel the same way, I'm glad. To me, it's therapeutic to talk this through. Like, that is baseball for you. Is that, I mean, it's not like this for every team. The Dodgers just kind of coast to their division title pretty much every year. It seems like a specific issue for the Giants, and being a Giants fan, especially lately, is that they're caught in this spot where they're not bad, but they're not good and like running away with a playoff berth. It's always a struggle, and they seem to always go through this type of offensive stretch during the season. So they had one guy who was swinging the bat really well, and that was Christian Koss, and yet, of course, he lands on the injured list. Christian Koss today put on the injured list with a left hamstring strain. Luis Matos recalled from AAA. So I was thinking it would probably be Matos, not an infielder, because they don't really have any more infielders who particularly make sense to call up. So right now they've got Chapman, Schmidt, and Koss, all, they're 3 third basemen essentially on the injured list. Those were the 3 guys in order who were playing third. So now they're going to be on their 4th string third baseman. I'm not entirely sure who's going to play third. I will check and see if we have a lineup out, but it would either be Brett Wisely or Tyler Fitzgerald, I would imagine, unless I'm forgetting someone. But just looking through their roster in the minor leagues, like, there's really nobody else who makes a lot of sense. Nobody else on the 40-man who even would be a consideration as an infielder. So imagine if Wisely or Fitzgerald gets hurt. Like, they're going to be dealing with some pretty serious issues at that position right now. Oh, I guess Wilmer Flores is someone who could play third. Roster Resource has him there. I wonder if that means the Giants have put out a lineup with Flores at third. That is possible. And that's kind of how dire this situation is. And apparently Buster Posey said that Devers at third is on the table. So, geez. Alex Pavlovich said Wilmer Flores is playing third base tonight. Buster Posey said Rafael Devers could be an option too, now that they're down Chapman, Schmidt, and Koss. So that's crazy. I mean, they did kind of say, like, they don't want to put that on Devers, but the fact that Posey said that Devers is an option is eye-opening, because that just speaks to Devers' willingness to play third. Like, he wouldn't say that if Devers hadn't already agreed to it. And so clearly the communication is just so much better with the Giants and Devers than it was with the Red Sox and Devers, because Devers wouldn't even play first with the Red Sox. But it was because, and we've detailed this in previous episodes when they first acquired him, it was a long history of miscommunication and what Devers perceived as, like, disrespect from the front office. But he doesn't perceive that here, and his attitude is very different as a result. So the lineup today, Jung-Hoo Lee gets a day off. I've been thinking he probably needs one. He's just been in a horrific slump. Daniel Johnson gets another start. He's taken some good swings, hasn't had a lot to show for it. Dominic Smith had some good at-bats last night. He's back in there at first. And yeah, Wilmer Flores playing third for the first time all season. I believe it's the first time he's played anywhere other than first base or DH. So that's the situation they're in, and we could see Devers over there. Who knows how soon? He hasn't even played first yet, but that would definitely get some headlines across baseball and in Red Sox land. If Devers ends up playing first and third, that would be pretty hilarious. So he's not a great defensive third baseman, but he did play there a very long time in his career, so he knows how to play the position. And sometimes when you're on your 4th string third baseman, you've got to just deal with a guy not being the best defender at that position, and that's going to be the case with Flores too, especially because he hasn't played there in so long. But they've got to do what they've got to do. So anyway, I just wanted to quickly get into the struggles of Devers so far offensively. He's had some big hits, but also he's struck out 36.2% of the time with the Giants. He's got a 200 average, but a 310 on base. So he's walked like 14% of the time, which is a nice rate. The slugging is just 360. So it's a 94 weighted runs created plus. So he's really not done very well, but it's still been roughly league average offense. And so that actually 94 weighted runs created plus happens to be exactly the same as the Giants season weighted runs created plus. So Devers in a Giants uniform has encapsulated the Giants offense overall. And that kind of checks out. Like, there's been a couple good things sprinkled in. He's gotten on base, like via the walk, but overall disappointing. But that is not what we should expect from Devers moving forward. His rolling 15-game strikeout rate is about 35% right now. Worth pointing out again that it was up like 46% in early April this year, his rolling 15-game strikeout rate. So I don't know for sure if he's a streaky hitter, but right now it's a rough patch for Devers for sure. But this is an 8.5-year situation, and he is better than this. He's just much better than this. And so eventually he's going to start doing Rafael Devers things. And so I would press for patience with Devers. Buster said that about Adames. I'm definitely more concerned about Adames than I am about Devers, because Devers had done it year in and year out and year in and year out, whereas Adames has, in his career, been just a little better than league average offensively, whereas Devers been much better than that. Since he turned 22, he's been 32% better than average offensively, hitting 282, 356 on base, 520 slugging. So Devers is going to be fine. Adames should be better than he's been, but I don't know. It's just really hard to watch right now, but eventually certain guys are just performing way below where they ultimately will be when all is said and done. And so eventually those big hits are going to come, and they're going to take this out on somebody, and hopefully they don't go out and score like 18 and then we wish, like, why didn't you save those runs for the rest of the series? I mean, I'm not saying don't score 18 runs, but they're due for an offensive explosion, and it feels like it's coming. They had better at-bats as the game went on yesterday. They just did not have much to show for it, even though they fought. So we'll see. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks again for making Locked On Giants your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Once again, I'm Ben Kaspick. Check me out on Twitter at Ben Kaspick, Kaspick. If you like the show, please consider rating it or leaving a review. Helps me out a lot. So thank you in advance, and thank you to everyone who's done so already. I can't wait to be with you again tomorrow, manifesting a win and some runs. Thanks again for listening today. You are now Locked On Giants.